Hey, it's Sam, and here's Matt. Pull up a chair, let's have a chat. Sobering thoughts, we're peeling it back. Two minds on the mend, truth we can't pretend. Laughs and lessons will blend. Recovery's a ride, no map, no guide. But here we stand, side by side. Sobering thoughts, let's talk it through. Finding the light in what we do. A journey shared, it's me and you.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sobering Thoughts Recovery with Sam and Matt. Unfortunately, Sam can't be with us today, but she promises to be back next week with an exciting podcast for all our listeners. So today I'm going to be diving into a topic that might sound a bit sciencey at first, but trust me, it's got everything to do with addiction recovery and how our brains are trained to respond to the world around us. The title Pavlov, not Pavlova, because we're not just talking about dessert today, we're talking about conditioning and classical conditioning, operant conditioning, triggers, and the way that our environment shapes us and how we can retrain our brains to find freedom again. At the end of this episode, we'll understand how scientists like Ivan Pavlov and B.F. Skinner discovered principles that now run the show in advertising, media, and yes, addiction. And I'll share a bit about my own triggers, things like how smells, places, people, and things still have their reaction to me and, how I deal with them. And this is called urge surfing, but we'll get to that later. So let's get into it. Let's rewind to the early 1900s. A Russian physiologist named Ivan Pavlov was studying digestion in dogs. Nothing fancy. He just was measuring how much saliva dogs produce when they're given food. And one day he noticed something strange. The dogs started drooling before the food arrived, just from hearing footsteps, seeing the ladder system he usually feeds them. And Pavlov thinks, hang on, why are they reacting when there's no food? So he sets up an experiment. Every time he feeds the dogs, he rang a bell. At first the bell means nothing. But after enough pairings, bell food, the dog's salivating just from the bell. He discovered that's classical conditioning. When a neutral thing, a sound or a smell, a place becomes linked to an experience or emotion. That one finding changed psychology forever. It told us our brains learn by association, often without us realizing it. Now think about your own life. You smell a certain perfume, you might think of an ex. You hear a song and feel a lump in your throat. You drive past a place like I do with Doonside, and those old feelings and urges and memories come rushing back. That's Pavlov, that's conditioning. It's not logic, it's memory wired into emotion. Our brains are constantly forming those links, and once they're there, they're powerful. You can be years clean, doing great, and then some random smell, like me, WD-40, hits my nose and bang, the brain lights up and it's 2003 all over again. So after Pavlov came this guy called B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist who took things to another level. Pavlov studied reflexes, automatic reactions. Skinner wanted to know how rewards and punishment shape our choices. He called it operant conditioning. He built these boxes called Skinner boxes, where rats or pigeons could press levers to get food. If pressing the lever gave them a treat, they'd do it again. But here's the twist. When the rewards came at random intervals, they pressed them even more and more. That's the same mechanism behind like poker machines. You never know when the win's coming. So your brain keeps pressing that button. It's also why people refresh social media or check their phones obsessively. The next like could come at any second. Skinner proved that behavior isn't just about willpower. It's about reinforcement. What gets rewarded gets repeated. Behaviorism grew from all this. The idea that humans, like animals, can be trained by their environment. We respond to rewards, we avoid pain, we repeat what feels good. Now that might sound a bit mechanical, but it's the foundation of what we do, both the good and the destructive. Think about addiction. That first hit, that first drink, that first rush, that's the first reward. Then the brain learned this equals relief. So you repeat it. Over time, it becomes automatic, like Pavlov's dogs, except instead salivating, we're craving. Here's where it gets wild. Companies saw what Pavlov and Skinner discovered and then turned it into an art form. Advertising is basically behavioral science with better lighting. A beer ad doesn't show you alcohol. It shows you laughter, beaches, connection. They want your brain to link beer with belonging. A fast food ad plays, upbeat music, happy faces, golden light. Your brain connects burgers with happiness. Even social media platforms use this. Every notification, every like, every scroll, it's a Skinner's random reward schedule. You're not just checking your phone's training you. Every time we open an app, dopamine spikes. Every like, every new post, it's a little reward. That's why people keep coming back, even when you're bored or anxious. We've been conditioned. Now, let's bring it back to addiction. When I was using, my brain learned its own associations. The smell of WD-40 with amphetamines, the sound of a lighter flicking, certain songs, even certain streets all became triggers. For me, the suburb of Doonside, it's just a name, but it stirs something deep in my body. My body remembers. That's classical conditioning. The brain links neutral things to the power of emotional experiences. And then there's operant conditioning, the reward side. Every time I used, I felt relief. The behavior got reinforced over and over until it was automatic. I wasn't thinking anymore. I was reacting, just like Pavlov's dogs, just like Skinner's pigeons. But here's the good news. If we can be conditioned, we can also recondition ourselves. One of the best tools for that is urge surfing. It comes from mindfulness. The idea that the urge rises, it peaks and falls like waves. Instead of fighting them or acting on them, you ride them. You breathe, you observe, and remind yourself this will pass. When a trigger hits, say, I smell WD-40 or I drive past a street in Doonside, I don't panic anymore. I notice this craving. I'm aware of it. It's like a wave. I remind myself that it will peak and it will fade. Urges usually last a few minutes, but it's the story we tell ourselves. I can't handle this. I need to use. That gives them power. If you stay present, if you ride that wave without judgment, it loses its pull. Over time, the brain rewires, the triggers lose strength, the bell rings, but the dog doesn't drool. So how do we actually retain ourselves? It starts with awareness. Notice what triggers you. Then write them down. The smells, the places, the sounds, the things, the people. Then practice new responses when the urge hits. Breathe, distract, call someone. Go for a walk, do something positive. Each time you do that, you're laying down new association. That's how recovery works. Not by forgetting your triggers, but by changing what they mean. I love thinking about how something discovered in a lab with a dog over 100 years ago still shapes how we live, buy, and behave today. But more importantly, it shows that we're not broken. We're just trained. And if we've been trained into addiction, we can be trained back out of it too. We can teach our brains new bells, new meanings, and new rewards. So next time you feel a wave rising, remember Pavlov, remember Skinner, remember that conditioning only works both ways. You can rewire it. You can surf it. Thanks for listening to Sobering Thoughts Recovery. Once, just again, it's Matt. And this is Pavlov, not Pavlova. Take care of yourselves. Please leave a like, Hit that notification bell on YouTube, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sobering Thoughts with Sam and Matt. Please leave a like or subscribe, it would help a lot. See you next time for more talk and laughter.